Hello Booktube, my name is Kate and this is my channel Chapter Kate. Today I'm going to be doing my October readathon TBR. And by that I mean I'm going to be participating in 2 readathons for certain in October, but I don't know what else will happen here. The first readathon I'm going to be participating in is Gothtober because, I've recently gotten real into Gothic literature. So, I have a Goth Lit club. So it seemed like the natural decision. In addition to that, I will be doing the Rocky Horror Readathon because I'm one of the co-hosts. And I might add others depending on how the month goes. A few of the readathons on my radar are Strangeathon, Fortnite Frights, Booathon, Black SFF-athon, and Vampathon. But I don't really know how this month is going to go. October is usually a really hectic month for me, so we're gonna just do our best. Which is why when I was kind of choosing my TBR, I chose books that matched all the prompts. A lot of them matched multiple prompts, and then I pretty much just from those picked all the ones that I'm really wanting to read and then added a couple because I am trying to be nice to myself this month. This readathon is going to be specifically for Gothtober. I may put out another one once Rocky Horror Readathon gets closer. For Gothtober, you can pretty much complete as many of the prompts as you want. So what I'm going to do is just tell you about the books that I want to read for the month, and then I'll tell you any prompts that they fit. The first book that I'm going to be reading in October is The Haunting of Hill House. This is for the Goth Lit Club. This is a monthly Gothic literature book club where we read Gothic literature or books that have Gothic elements to them. If you would like to join in on the spooky broodiness of our Goth Lit Club, check us out on Twitter at Goth Lit Club. But this is by Shirley Jackson. There is a Netflix show based on it, but the Netflix show is very different from the actual book, so I've been told. I'm not entirely sure how the book differs, but I do know that there's this house and it is very haunted. There's all kinds of ghosts and spirits up in that thing. I would move out immediately. Actually, I would never even move in because even as I am now, when I pass a house that just has that vibe, I'm like, haunted, no. So the prompts that I think this fits is lies, because I believe there's a character in here that is a liar, but also undead character because there are ghosts, and gray morality because I believe there's gray morality in this. The next book I'm going to be reading is Middle Game by Shannon McGuire. This book, there are these twin gods, and then they have been created by this dude, and this dude kind of wants to take over the world or something. He wants to achieve like the highest level of power he can or something. That's what I've gained from this. I'm really bad at reading synopses and actually figuring out what's going on. I swear every time I try to summarize the plot of a book that I haven't read, I'm completely wrong, and then I read it, I'm like, well, that was very different. So the twins' names are Roger and Dodger. They were created by this guy named Reed. Roger and Dodger don't know that they're not human. They're kind of god-like-ish, but they don't really want that kind of power, but Reed, who created them, does want that kind of power. I don't know, seems kind of Frankenstein-y. I'm here for it. I think this might qualify as dark academia, but I'm not really sure. It might take place in a school. I feel like it might. It also seems like the character Reed is morally gray and that there are a lot of lies going on in this book. On top of that, it is also one of my oldest purchased books. I know it hasn't been out very long, but it's one of the books that I have been putting off the longest. Then we have Age of Sword by Michael J. Sullivan. I read Age of Myth last month and I really enjoyed it as a start of a new fantasy series. I'm not good at keeping up with series, but I'm hoping to read 1 book a month at least. But this is book 2 of the Legends of the First Empire. In this book there are these Frey creatures who are kind of looked at as godlike, but then one of the humans kills one, so they realize that there's not as big of a difference and that they can be killed, and then that causes a whole uprising and whatnot. So this is book number 2. This book has disability representation, but there are also female protagonists, and there are also lies, and there's also morally gray characters. So this will fit a lot of the prompts. Stephen Graham Jones is an indigenous author. The synopsis describes the 4 main characters as American Indian men, but I've been told that that's not acceptable typically, so I don't know whether to refer to them as that or refer to them as indigenous men. But 4 men get lost in the woods, and because they've abandoned some of their practices and their traditions, they are facing some kind of scary, horrible thing in the woods due to an event that happened in their past. Sounds mysterious. There's a lot of mystery going on here for it. So this would qualify for the BAME read, as well as modern retelling because it's a modern book with Gothic elements, and I believe gray morality. Then we have The Dark Vault by Victoria Schwab. This is actually 2 novels, and those novels are The Archived and The Unbound. And there's something to do with these librarians who are keepers of certain secrets, I guess, maybe. And the main character is towing a line between the living and the dying. The back described it as having a lot of Gothic, action, and romance elements. But I honestly don't want to know a lot going into this because since it's YA, I feel like it's going to be pretty simple and kind of an easier read. And so I don't really want to know a lot going in. Knowing Victoria Schwab, I'm going to go ahead and put this under LGBTQ plus read because she typically has characters that are LGBTQ plus. There's also a female protagonist. I believe there's morally gray characters. I'm also going to count this for bones on the cover because it has a skeleton key. The next is A Cosmology of Monsters by Sean Hamill. So in this book, there's a family and they all can see monsters, but they try to ignore them. They kind of leave them on the edge of their vision or they dismiss them, things like that. But the main character of this lets them in, and so we're dealing with that. I'm going to call this a modern retelling because it uses elements of Lovecraft, and there are probably morally gray characters also. Then we have We Sold Our Souls by, I almost said Jimi Hendrix. Next we have We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix. They have a cool version that has a painted sprayed edges and a cool creepy cover that you definitely shouldn't read because you'll summon something, I'm almost positive. Boop. Grady Hendrix is known for kind of humor horror, and the main character of this book is a middle-aged woman who is in a washed-up metal band. And so to kind of get back on her feet and to rock as hard as possible, she sells her soul. So that's just great. So this counts for lies, female protagonist, morally gray, and also red on the cover. Then we have The Ghost Tree by Christina Henry. She has a lot of dark retellings of things, but this is supposed to be just a riff on the small town horror story. The main character of this book lives in a town where they keep finding remains of people being pulled apart, and she's not super surprised because her father was found without a heart like the year before. And so she has this vision of some of the girls in the town being dragged into the woods by a monster, and she wants to do something about it. So I know for sure this has a female protagonist, and I believe it has morally gray characters. I think they all do, honestly. And it's a modern book with gothic elements. Then we have A Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix as well. So this book is about a book club, and they are Southern and they slay vampires. I didn't really pick this book out to match any of the prompts, but it is a modern book with gothic elements, so we're gonna take it. And it also has red on the cover because it's got some blood in these peaches. You hate when you get blood in your peaches. Next, we have Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. 2 words, lesbian necromancers. And that's all I have to say. But also this fits the prompts of LGBTQ plus read, as well as bones on the cover, as well as a female protagonist, and probably morally gray character. The next book is Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi. This is the sequel to Children of Blood and Bone, which I really enjoyed. The magic system in this world is very based on elements, so if you think of Avatar The Last Airbender, it has a very elemental magic. This is the same, but has a lot more. So it's not just those elements, it also has like life and blood and, you know, psychic-y stuff. But it's really cool, and there's like this group of people who have these powers, and then there's people that don't have these powers, and they want to repress the people who do because how dare you be magical and I am not. You know, that classic story. So I really enjoyed the first one, and I hope to enjoy the second one as much. But this counts as a BAME read, as well as female protagonist, and I'm going to count this under foreign country because even though it takes place in a fantasy world, I believe, it is based on West African mythology. I don't think there's any bones on the cover. I mean, there's the word bone on the back because Children of Blood and Bone. And there's red on her headband. It's not really a headband. I think it's like a hair wrap. And then the last thing on my list is Monstrous by Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda. This is a graphic novel, and it's just gorgeous. Every time I try to ask somebody about it, they always just say, it's gorgeous, and then they go on their merry way. So I know it's gorgeous, but the illustrations have an Art Deco and steampunk vibe about them. The main character of this is a survivor between a big cataclysmic war between the humans and the Arcanics, which I believe are like maybe animal-like beings. The main character's last name is Half-Wolf, so I think she's like human and Arcanic. It also describes her as both the hunter and the hunted, so we'll see how that plays out. I think I met all the prompts with these books. I don't think I mentioned Dark Academia, but I think the Dark Vault happens in a school, so we're gonna count it for Dark Academia. But in addition to meeting all the Gothtober prompts, I also wanted to pick books that all had dark spines on them. So look at that. Some of them look like they're other colors, but they're all black, I swear. So this is my TBR. Why did I pick this up? This is the worst thing ever. But yes. Let me know if you know anything about any of these books, or if you're going to be reading any of the same books, if you're going to be participating in Gothtober. If not, what readathons are you participating in? I would like to know. But that is all for this video. If you would like more of this junk, please subscribe below. Bye! Tripping over shadows and I'm drowning in the night. I feel the soldiers coming and I'm putting up a fight. I feel my eyelids closing under